Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen,
hello and good evening, and welcome to Hardcore Heels. I am your host, and I guess the only one here, Sewer Dweller, coming to you live from the office. And it is SummerSlam weekend. I decided I usually host on this network. I usually host Bloody Binge Movie Podcast, or the Bloody Binge Movie Show, rather. It is not a podcast. It is a show for reasons. And, excuse me, we were going to do Ready to Rumble this week as to get ready for SummerSlam weekend. But unfortunately, my job calls and we are, I'm not going to be able to do a show tomorrow for Bloody Binge. So I decided Hardcore Heels, SummerSlam weekend, SummerSlam results, or not results, but predictions. So we're going to do that tonight. We're going to talk about some WWE news. We're going to talk some indie wrestling news because there's a lot of indie wrestling news going on as well. And I hope I can be entertaining for you guys by myself. But it's been an interesting, because I know it's been since WrestleMania since I think we've had a show, and it's been an interesting few months. The booking and everybody can say the booking and the shows for WWE have kind of been hit and miss lately. The pay-per-views have been funny, or not funny, but fun to watch. The booking's been a little bit questionable, but since we last spoke to you, Jey Uso has won and lost the WWF, I guess it's the world title is what he has, and I think SmackDown has the WWF title. But Jey Uso has won and lost the belt. Jelly Roll is getting involved now, and just a bunch of stuff going on. The SmackDown Tag Team division has been pretty hopping lately. The Women's Intercontinental Champion, Intercontinental title division's been very interesting and very good matches, very good matches, and so on and so forth. It's been interesting. Some of the stuff, again. But we are going to get started with last week's SmackDown results. I'm going to tell you right now, I have not been keeping up with SmackDown too much. I have not been keeping up with NXT too much because I've been in school. I've been taking classes over the summer, trying to get a degree and hopefully make this show better. But I've watched some videos. I've still got opinions and things like that on some stuff, but we are going to go ahead and jump into the SmackDown results from this past week. You guys probably, again, it's been a week. It's been 6 days. You guys probably don't know what happened on SmackDown, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. We'll get Impulsive TV. I believe if I'm reading this correctly, Impulsive TV was the opening segment after the Hulk Hogan tribute. And it basically featured a back and forth between Logan Paul, Jelly Roll, and Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre was not there because he was having visa issues. Not really visa issues, but more along the lines of apparently he forgot he left his passport here in America when he went to England. I think it was the UK. I know it was the UK. I don't know if it was England or Scotland for someone's wedding. I want to say it's his wife's sister's wedding or something like that. But he left his passport here, but apparently everything's been taken care of. He's on his way back. He was on his way back as of this morning to New York City. But I didn't watch it. I can't really sit here and go back and forth. But apparently, it was a good segment from what I've heard. I can't comment on it really because again, I didn't get a chance to watch it. We were doing something on Friday night. I can't remember what we were doing, but we were not here. We were not at home to watch. But it does look like Jelly Roll got physical again and laid out Logan Paul to end the segment. So I mean, a lot of people are pissed off about the Jelly Roll stuff. I'm not. It's what WWE does, and it's like I said, it's what WWE does. And on top of that, you're talking about one of the top selling recording artists in the world right now. He's one of the most popular musicians in the world right now. So of course they're gonna if he wants to be involved, of course they're gonna make him involved. Because what I'm understanding is the Travis Scott stuff, apparently he didn't work out. A lot of people called him lazy and things like that. So but we go into our first match. Our first match of the night was Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez with their tag team with their, appropriate tag team partners in their corner. I did watch a little bit of this match. It looked like it was a good back and forth match for what it could be for an Alexa Bliss. I like Alexa Bliss, but I don't think she's the best wrestler. But it was okay for what it was from what I saw. The stuff on the outside with Charlotte and Raquel Rodriguez getting into the fight. Alexa hitting the Twisted Bliss, and then Roxanne Perez rolls her up, gets the 1, 2, 3, jumps out of the ring. Roxanne's been kicking ass on the main roster. But Alexa had a little bit of a bloody nose at the end, so it kind of made a good visual, not the same kind of visual that Becky Lynch made, but it was a good visual. Afterwards, Charlotte gets in the ring, consoles her tag team partner, not her friend, but a tag team partner. And we're going on, and basically we go on. They go on to commercial break, and like I said, the video I saw of the match looked good. It looks like the crowd was into it. The crowd loves Alexa Bliss. They're starting to warm up to Charlotte again finally. So I think it'll work. I think what they're doing is working. Moving on, the next match, Jade Cargill versus Chelsea Green. I have seen nothing of this match. I've heard nothing of this match. Jade Cargill beats her. The Secret Herbis, Alba Fire and Piper Niven attacked Jade Cargill after the match until Tiffany Stratton makes the save. I love Chelsea. Chelsea knows her job. Chelsea knows her job is to get people over and for comedic relief. There was no way in hell that Chelsea Green was going to beat Jade Cargill clean or even in a match at all with Jade Cargill getting a title shot. I can't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday. So yeah, Jade wasn't going to lose that match. That's one of them. That's one of the, and that's where it starts getting a little predictable in that matter, because you can't have somebody who's got a world title match coming up like this weekend, especially on the second biggest show of the year. You can't have her lose a match. You can't have her lose a match, because it just makes her look weak going into SummerSlam. And so I personally, if it was me, they wouldn't have had a match. Just like this week, if it was me booking this week, nobody who is on, if you were on SummerSlam itself, you might get a promo, but you're not wrestling. You're not wrestling this week. You're on Friday. It's going to be a lead-in. It's going to be a preview show. A lot of previews for SummerSlam. And put guys who aren't going to be on the show in matches. Give some of these guys a chance. We move on to our next match. The Miz versus Jacob Fatu. Apparently, The Miz, I guess, had him and Jacob Fatu and The Miz had an altercation in the back before the match started, and I don't know what The Miz was thinking. Challenged him to a match. I guess there was I guess that's where Cody's promo was. Cody did the promo. He spoke briefly about, Hulk Hogan, and given and he gave a promo about Cena. Cena's. I've got some comments on that match, but I'm gonna save those for the prediction segment. But backstage, Jacob Fatu's giving a promo, and he's interrupted by The Miz, who said that basically, I guess a returning Miz, because Miz hasn't been around for a few weeks. He's been out recording American Gladiators. But I guess he's backstage. He was interrupted by The Miz, who said Fatu putting him on the shelf for 6 weeks helped him figure out who he was. And then he slapped Jacob Fatu, which was probably the dumbest thing The Miz could have possibly did. And told him that they got that match book. Needless to say, Fatu beats The Miz, Solo, and his team. They the BFTs, I think is what they're called, or the MFTs. Showed up, Fatu fended him off, hits the wind. Just as Sikoa and the Tongans were about to jump him, Jimmy Uso shows up with a couple of chairs, and chases them off. So, be my, it was good. It was a good segment. It looked like it was a fun match. Then we get to the main event of the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Wyatt Six, and I believe it's Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, versus Andrade and Rey Fenix. Andrade and Rey Fenix won a title match last week to get the title shot this week. They won a 4-way match last week and won to get the title shot this week. I watched the whole match. It was actually a good match. It was a really good match. I think I was cooking at the time when this was on, but it was a good match. A lot of great action. The match once again, and this has been happening a lot in the tag division, but it's kept it interesting in all honesty. As during the match, the Fraxium comes down, the Motor City Machine Guns come down. Was it Fraxium? The Motor City Machine Guns come down. The Street Profits end up coming doing. I can't remember all who came. There was a shit ton of people that come down, and then finally DIY comes down with all this, doing like a "Hey, told you so, told you so." Then everybody starts diving, and everybody hits the ground. Aldis gets in the ring, gets pissed off, and goes, "You know what? I'm sick of this shit. This has been going on for too long." SummerSlam TLC tag team match. That's gonna be fucking awesome. That is gonna be That's going to steal the show, in my opinion. That definitely has a chance to steal the show. They needed it. They needed it. Yeah, they needed something like that, something exciting, and I'm looking forward to that match the most, in all honesty, because these are 12 guys that can fucking go. Not to mention, you have um, Dexter or Rowan on the outside. You got Uncle Howdy on the outside that can get involved. Nikki Cross will get involved at some point. But all in all, it looked like it was a decent SmackDown. Again, I don't really, I haven't been following it, not because it's been bad, but essentially because I just haven't had the time. We've been doing a lot on Friday nights, and between working and school and that, it's just I haven't had time to watch it. And for some reason, my Raw results are not coming up. There we go. Okay, that is working. Alrighty. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta find the results now. There we go. So yeah, SmackDown looked like it was pretty good over the weekend. I don't think there's really any wrestling over the weekend, any wrestling that I care about. But TNA's been having some really good shows too, though. So that's always something to keep an eye out. So we move to Monday Night Raw from Detroit, Michigan, at the Little Caesars Arena. Show opens up once again with the Hulk Hogan tribute, and then we go straight to the action. Well, not really action, but we go straight to the show with Jey Uso coming out to the ring, hyping the crowd up. Everybody's yeeting, and he started. He announced basically it'll be Jey Uso and Roman Reigns against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker on Saturday. I guess it's the main event for Saturday. And then tonight it'll see Jey Uso versus Big Bronson Reed in the main event of the show. So he's talking, or he's doing his thing, and he goes to run it back, basically do his encore. When he is interrupted by Paul Heyman, who walks out to the stage, and he tries to do his stuff, but the crowd just boos the shit out of him. And Paul Heyman, being the amazing promo that he is, looks at the crowd and goes, "My name is not Boo." Heyman says he's not here to disrespect Jey Uso, even though he's in the main event tonight against Bronson Reed. Heyman is here to speak man to man, a former Bloodline member to another, and Heyman wanted to speak from the heart. So naturally, the crowd starts chanting OTC for, Roman Reigns. Heyman goes to get in the ring, but I guess he looks at Uso and decides, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to get in this ring. Heyman says he cannot believe that Uso accepted his cousin's invitation to team with him at SummerSlam against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Uso is doing it all in the name of family, and Heyman emphasizes the family, and it emphasizes family in a derogatory way. So Heyman says family is always going to let you trust the Oracle. That's not a prediction. That is a prophecy. I'm kind of liking him calling himself the Oracle. But he goes on. Yeah, he says, Uso's, he can see that Uso's not buying what he's telling him. Crowd just goes crazy with another OTC chant. Heyman wants to lay this one on Uso. When Uso was a kid, did his mother tell him it was Santa Claus that left presents under the tree? Because he didn't. In other words, Jey Uso's mother lied to him. Yeah, he went there. Heyman went there. Heyman says everyone's mothers lied to them too, except for the Jewish ones, because his tribe knows better. That was a funny line. That was pretty funny. And then Paul Heyman asked, did Uso's father Rikishi tell him that he wanted him to become the more iconic than he was? Is that what Rikishi told him? Rikishi doesn't want that. Heyman says, your father lied to you too. When Roman Reigns was going to pick the next in line for the tribal chief, did he pick Jey Uso? No, he picked Solo Sikoa. And how did that work out for the family? Now Roman thinks Uso would have been a better choice for tribal chief. Does he tell Jey that Reigns wants him to be as rich, famous, and as big as he is? If Roman Reigns said that to Uso, Roman Reigns lied to him too. Heyman isn't saying this out of anger or malice. Heyman says he is saying this because he loves Jey Uso. The crowd is just booing the shit out of Heyman at this point. Heyman says he loves Jey just like family, and Heyman then yells, "Yeet!" drops the microphone and bows to Uso. The crowd chants bullshit, naturally. And Uso paces around the ring and finally says, family is why he's here. Jey tells Heyman one more time not to run his mouth about his family. Jey will pull up for his family every time. That bloodline still runs deep in his veins. And Heyman is out here talking crap and disrespecting him. Jey said he did all these things because he wanted to prove it to himself. He won the World Heavyweight Championship to prove it to himself. It had nothing to do with Roman. And speaking of family, where's Heyman's? They brought Paul into his family. Jey says they brought Paul into their family. Here's what's going to happen. Heyman screwed Roman at WrestleMania. His boys screwed him out of the World Heavyweight Championship. Whatever happens tonight in SummerSlam is on Heyman's ass. And then he actually goes, and I got one thing left to say, 4 letters, and he lets the crowd finish the 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. And then he runs it back again. He starts to celebrate, and we get the rundown for the show. Good opening segment. Jey was on it. Jey was on it on Monday. He was intense. He had a great comebacks for Heyman. Heyman, of course, is just one of the best promos. Right now, he's probably the best promo in wrestling. And he's also one of the greatest minds in wrestling, too. So he's got that for him. So we go to commercial, and when we come back, it's a 6-person mixed tag team match. It's AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus the Judgment Day, WWE Intercontinental Champion Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. This match was actually really good, really fun to watch. One of the favorite moments, and I know guys have seen the highlight reel, is when Kairi Sane comes running at AJ, and AJ just uses his hands and flips her over, and she hits the insane elbow on Raquel on the outside. AJ hits the phenomenal forearm, pins Dominic Mysterio for the 1-2-3, and wins the match for AJ and the Kabuki Warriors. Again, good match. It was good. We go to commercial, come back, and Jackie Redmond, this may have been before commercial, but Jackie Redmond is congratulating Sheamus on winning his match. Then Grayson Waller and the New Day show up, and the New Day look ridiculous in morning outfits that they have. It's great. They approach him, and Waller basically says that he's dumped Austin Theory and wants to take it to Sheamus. Sheamus basically says, "You're like it," and tells Grayson that he's like an infection, and Sheamus is excited to take him on. Waller turns and sees that the New Day isn't behind him anymore. So he will have to wrestle Grace will have to wrestle Sheamus by himself. We go to ringside, and two people I don't know are sitting there. But we get Sheamus versus Grayson Waller. Good match. Sheamus ends up winning, but not before Rusev gets involved. Sheamus takes him out, hits the brogue kick on Grayson Waller, and gets the 1-2-3, and then Rusev attacks with Sheamus's shillelagh. Rusev beats him down, and then puts him in the accolade. The referee's calling for help. The referee's trying to get him off. Rusev finally releases the hold and stands over Sheamus, still pissed that Sheamus beat him last week. The match was what it was. It wasn't meant to be anything more than filler until Rusev came out to further that storyline. I don't know what they're doing with Grayson Waller right now. There'll be a feud when Theory comes back, but right now I don't know what they're doing with him. But moving on, Jackie Redmond is now backstage with women's world champion Naomi, and she cuts a promo. And yeah. It's not a great promo, guys. It's her talking shit about Io and Rhea. Naomi's not a good promo. She's never been. She talks about how she's gonna walk out of SummerSlam, prove all the haters wrong, and then 2 weeks after that, she's got Stephanie Becker at Clash in Paris. Is it Clash in Paris this year? I think it's Clash in Paris or Germany. I think it's Paris. We get another backstage segment with Lyra Valkyria walking. We'll hear from her next. We get a couple of videos with WWE superstars reflecting on the life and legacy of Hulk Hogan. We get another locker room segment where Bronson Reed is backstage and Heyman's hyping him up. Telling him different things. And then Bronson Reed smiles and says, "Tonight, Jey Uso and any member of his family, I am going to leap down, out, and tsunami'd." Reed walks off. Heyman says that worked. Breakker says he has a plan, and Heyman looks confused. Go to our next segment. Lyra Valkyria is in the ring with her big shoes, her Becky Stompers, as she calls them, and she's calling out Becky Lynch. And it's the same back and forth between Becky and Lyra that's been going on for a few weeks now. And it's basically reminding everybody that, hey, there is no disqualifications, there are no countouts, there must be a winner, and that if Lyra doesn't win, she can't challenge Becky for the Intercontinental title anymore. So, 2 stipulations for that match. Lyra's a great wrestler. Again, she's not coming to her own when it comes to the promo side of professional wrestling. But moving on, we go to an earlier interview with Corey Graves with Sami Zayn. They start talking about Zayn and Karrion being at odds. They've been, which for a year now, I think this has been going on. And they're going to have yet another match at SummerSlam. And Corey's asking Sami what he hopes to accomplish. Sami says he's hoping to be done with Cross once and for all. Cross is obsessed with him. Cross wants some warped truth from him, but Zayn doesn't care. It's impeding him, and it's standing in the way of Sammy achieving his goals, and that Sammy wants to be a world champion. Cross has to be. He's basically saying Karrion Kross is going to be finished at SummerSlam. Karrion Kross then interrupts the interview and tells Graves to go away. Of course, Scarlett is with Kross. Kross says he has an idea. He had the idea to hit Sammy in the injured ribs with the steel pipe again, but then he thought Sammy wouldn't make it to SummerSlam. And that doesn't work for him. Kross usually gets everyone in WWE to show their true colors, except for Sammy. And that's pissing him off. When he beats Sammy at SummerSlam, he'll get Sammy to say, Kross told the truth. Then he'll go away. And Sammy can be world champion. Kross says Sammy is no different than anyone else and is no better than him. Scarlett gives Kross the pipe, and Kross gives it to Sammy. Sammy says Kross thinks he's a puppet master. What does he really want? If Kross beats him at SummerSlam, Sammy says he'll say whatever it is he wants him to say. Maybe Kross is wrong about everything, even himself. And when Sammy beats him at SummerSlam, because he will do that, Kross will look at him and say that Kross was wrong. Sammy gives the pipe back and says, I'll see you at SummerSlam. It was kind of a good segment. I missed that when I was cooking at the time, but it was a good segment. It really was a good segment. It's a match that's been done, so I think they need to add a stipulation because they've already done this match twice, once on a pay-per-view and once on Raw. But it needs something. In the arena, we see Naomi heading to the ring because we have an 8-woman tag team match up next. We come back for commercial, and Jackie is in the backstage area with a dejected Bayley. Bayley isn't slated to appear at SummerSlam, and so Jackie asks what's next to her. And Bayley says she lost her opportunity at the Intercontinental title and the tag team titles. She's already missed WrestleMania. Now she's going to miss SummerSlam. And Bayley says for the first time in her career, she's at a loss for words. And she just walks off. Now we go to our next match, an 8-women tag team match featuring Naomi, Chelsea Green, and the Secret Herbis, Alba Fire and Piper Niven versus Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, for no reason whatsoever, and Rhea Ripley. Good long match. It was actually a pretty decent match. It had everything you wanted in it. The match ends. The crowd wars as Piper Niven goes face to face with Ripley. Ripley headbutts her with the and basically she hits the riptide on Piper Niven. Chelsea slaps Ripley in the face, and that just pisses her off. And Vaquer grabs Chelsea Green, hits the SVB, pins her for the win. Winners of the match: Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, and Rhea Ripley. So yeah, that was a good match. I'll give it to them. That 8-man was a very good, fun match to watch, even if it does have Nikki Bella in it. It was a good, fun match. Now we go to a replay from last Monday as El Grande Americano. This is the Ludwig Kaiser version of Americano. Tries to help American May, but they didn't want his help, and it cost them their match against the LWO. We now cut back to the Judgment Day Clubhouse with Dominic and the tag, and Dominic, Roxanne, and Raquel all looking dejected after losing. Finn and JD think they need to rally the troops. And Balor says that it's just one night. Everyone thought they were gone. They were done when they got rid of Rhea and Damian. And they've all got gold and are stronger than ever. Liv Morgan isn't even here. Dominic asks if they need help, but Balor tells him, "Nah, you stay back here and chill." Roxanne Perez gives him a Nintendo Switch, and Mysterio's and Dominic's impressed. Raquel says, basically Roxanne says, "You know what? My favorite game is WWE 2K25. And Raquel says, you know who else likes playing WWE 2K25? Liv. Dominic suggests they call her as basically the camera fades out. And it cuts to Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro of the LWO making their entrance for the World Tag Team title shot coming up next. We come back and we got Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, and Nikki Bella high-fiving and hugging backstage because they just won. Nikki and Stephanie walk off camera. Sky stops Ripley from walking, and Ripley says they're friends right now, but at SummerSlam, she'll finally have her number. And Io says Rhea has never beaten her and never will. Rhea says we'll see about that and walks off. And Io smiles, that wonderful smile of hers. Now we come back to the arena and we have a tag team title shot, a tag team championship match, the LWO, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde versus the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough. And this was a damn good match. It's a damn good match. It goes through a commercial break. They come back and the match is going on. Del Toro hits a Phoenix Splash onto JD or Finn. JD breaks the pin up. Joaquin Wilde runs in, but McDonough clotheslines him over the top rope. And basically him and Joaquin both go over the top. El Grande Americano runs down to he got a pretty good reaction. He starts, distracting. He starts a distraction. Dragon Lee pulls Americano off the apron, and they start brawling to the back. Hold on one second, guys. Come on. There we go. Sorry, I think my headphone was dying. My headset was dying there. Had some weird feedback. So Dragon Lee and El Grande Americano fight to the back. And in the ring, Finn Balor catches Del Toro with an inside cradle for a 2. Del Toro kicks Balor out, kicks Balor down, and kicks McDonough off in the face for good measure. Joaquin Wilde hits the wild somersault plancha off the top rope to the floor on JD McDonough. Del Toro goes to the top rope, but a different El Grande Americano crotches him. And Americano 2 leaves through the crowd. Balor hits Del Toro with a coup de grace for the 1, 2, 3, and the win. JD McDonough and Finn Balor retain the WWE World Tag Team titles. In, again, one hell of a match. It was a great match. So, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was great. I thought it was Chad Gable. I thought it was Chad Gable was the second Americano, and apparently he wasn't. The internet and a lot of people are saying that the second Americano was actually Pete Dunne. Which would be interesting. I'm interested to see, I'm like really interested to see where this is going because he's over as hell in Mexico. El Grande Americano was over as hell in Mexico. But he just cost the LWO a title, the title shot. And we'll see where that leads. Because it's got to lead somewhere, right? We get a backstage segment of main event Jey Uso warming up for his match against Big Bronson Reed. And then another backstage segment where World Heavyweight Champion Gunther is walking backstage, and we'll hear from him next. Then they aired a commercial, and I got really excited. One of my favorite era wrestling figures growing up, and it's because I had all of them, was the LJN era, the big rubber wrestlers from the 1980s. And apparently they're bringing them back. There's only going to be 3, though. There's going to be Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and Logan Paul. I still want all 3. Because I loved those as a kid. They were great. And apparently they are available for pre-order at Target. So we move to our next segment. World Heavyweight Champion Gunther calling out CM Punk. So it's the typical, it's exactly what you expected. I'm not going to go through the whole promo because that's just, you saw it. Basically, Gunther is kind of celebrating that he left Punk speechless last week. But of course, Punk comes out this week and just fires back about how he needs to be champion and all this stuff. And now Punk leaves the ring and Gunther's pissed. So then they announced that Breland will sing God Bless America on Saturday and Tiger Lily Gold will sing it on Sunday. I have no idea who Tiger Lily Gold is. Then they run down the entire SummerSlam card for both nights. Jackie Redmond sit down with Jelly Roll, and the only thing that comes out of this promo is Jelly Roll saying, "Fuck Logan Paul." Okay. Then we get the main event. Jey Uso versus Big Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman. It's your typical Jey Uso match. They come back from commercial break, and Bronson is giving Uso the last rites and goes for the tsunami. Jey moves. Jey blocks the right hand and just starts punching Reed back. He does the little theatric, rocks him with the right hand, and super kicks him in the middle of the ring. Uso hits the ropes, connects with the suicide dive, and then Braun Breaker runs down, hits Uso with a massive spear on the outside. And the referee calls for the bell. So Jey Uso wins by disqualification. And of course, there's shenanigans outside as Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker just start beating the shit out of Jey. Just as Bronson's going up to hit the tsunami, Roman Reigns' music hits. Reigns comes out. He takes his sweet ass time, but he comes out and basically fights off Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. But unfortunately, Braun Breaker hits Roman with the spear, and then Reed avalanches down onto Jey Uso. Bronson Reed puts Uso in the ring and holds him up for Breaker to hit a spear. Bronson heads to the top and crushes Uso with the tsunami, and Paul Heyman is loving what he's seeing. Roman is pulling himself up. Crowd chants OTC, and Braun sees them getting up, and so he goes to the apron and dives with the clothesline over the commentary table. Basically, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed just destroyed Jey and Reigns and Roman. That's how Raw goes off the air. It's actually a pretty decent Raw this week. It is a pretty decent Raw. It was a pretty decent Raw this week. A couple things could have been. The promos weren't very good, but it is what it is. It's the go home show. That was pretty good. I'm not expecting much from. Not expecting too much from SmackDown this week. Just a bunch of promo videos for the matches that they want to promote this week and for the weekend and things like that. I'm not going to run through the NXT results because again, I have not been paying attention to it at all. Not because it's bad, trust me, not because it's bad, but just because I haven't had time. And it wouldn't be fair for me to, because I haven't even seen video. I haven't even seen videos of NXT this week, and it just wouldn't be fair. The only thing I'll address is Tiffany Stratton put up pictures of Jordan Grace when she was Big Mama Pump versus now. Basically, if you don't know, Jordan used to be pretty thick, and not in a bad way. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the fans liked her better when she was thicker than she is, built the way she is now. It's her decision how she wants to be now, but a lot of fans do like her better when she was thicker. So, and I guess a lot of people online, basically a lot of younger fans, got upset and said it was fat shaming and shit like that. You guys wouldn't have made it through the 80s or 90s in wrestling because, yeah, one Rick Rude promo and you guys would have been throwing a fit. It's not that serious, guys. It's wrestling. It's wrestling. It's not serious. Stop making it serious. But it's the IWC, and needless to say, the IWC is not very smart. It really isn't. So let's see. We are at 45 minutes. So we'll do another. How about we do night 1 predictions, and then we'll take our commercial break and come back and do night 2, and then some. There's some news going on in the indie world, and wrestling and things like that. And if you got any comments or questions, feel free to add them. I don't mind answering questions and that. I'll give my opinions on stuff. Again, this stuff is my opinion. It's not fact. It is not set in stone. My opinions could change. But okay, let's start with night 1. We're going to do our predictions now. Night 1, SummerSlam. Night 1 this Saturday. And if you got predictions for the matches, put them in the comment sections. If you're on Facebook, YouTube. I think if you're on Facebook or YouTube or even X, I think they should appear up here and I can still read them. And I can still read them. And comment on, So night 1, we got it starts out with Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, or Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Just a regular match according to this. And again, I think it needs to be something more. It needs to be something more. It needs a stipulation to it, in my opinion. Because they've already done this twice. This is a rubber match. The rubber match needs a stipulation. We got plenty of other stipulations going on. One more stipulation match isn't going to hurt, But it's hard to call. If Sami wins, Kross is buried, I think. I think Kross is buried if Sami wins. And if Kross wins, Sami's turning heel, which, honestly, I thought was going to happen the night after SummerSlam. I'm leaning towards Kross. I'm leaning towards Karrion Kross winning this because he needs the win. He's over as hell right now, and I think they want to turn Sami heel because they're especially on Raw. They have a lack. There's very strong lack of strong heels on Monday Night Raw. There is, because Rollins is out, whether it's legitimate. I know I've heard a lot of people say it's not legit. But Rollins is out. Who else did they got besides Gunther? Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. They're busy with Jey Uso and Roman. They don't have any heels. They need some heels. So I think Sami Zayn Karrion Kross wins and Sami Zayn turns heel in this match. That's what I think happens, and I'm okay with it. Second match on the card, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Does anybody really think Roman and Jey are losing this match? I don't. I don't think they're losing. I think Roman and Jey are taking this match, and I think it's by a long shot. It'll be a decent match. I think if it's me booking, Jay's gonna be the babyface imperiled, get the hot tag to Roman because that's gonna be the pop. Roman's gonna work him over, and I think Roman and Jay win. I think they're going to end up pinning. They'll pin Bronson Reed because I think Braun Breaker doesn't need to take a pin yet. But yeah, I'm surprised that's not the main event too. But moving on to our next match. WWE Women's Tag Team Championships as the Judgment Day. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez take on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Hard to call again. But in all honesty, I'm leaning towards Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, I'm leaning towards them because I don't know because I don't really see them losing the titles without Liv, and if Liv's going to be gone for a while, I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte to further that storyline because it's working. That storyline's working, and I know they still want to cause some trouble, cause some what do you call it, between Raquel and Roxanne until Liv Morgan comes back and we get the Rhea Liv storyline all over again with Liv and Rhea and Roxanne. But yeah, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, I think, are going to take the tag titles. Next match on the card for Saturday: Randy Orton and country music artist Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. I'm going Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Celebrities don't lose often. When they're in a match, celebrities don't lose often. I can't even remember. Even at WrestleMania excuse me. Did Johnny Knoxville beat Sami Zayn? One way to find out. I got the hiccups for some reason. Yeah, even Johnny Knoxville beat Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. I see Randy Orton and Logan and Jelly Roll beating Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre, and I think Jelly Roll will hit the RKO on Logan Paul. In all honesty, I can see that happening. Next up, and on top of that, the IWC will melt down. Yeah. Next up on the list, WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the title. I don't want to see her lose it, but I think Jade's winning. I think we're getting a new women's champion. They're pushing the shit out of Jade. They're pushing the hell out of Jade, and Tiffany's held it since WrestleMania. I can see them. I can see them putting it on Jade. The only way I think Jade doesn't win it is if like Bianca comes back and turns on her, or Naomi comes in and costs her the title or something. But I think Jade is winning the women's title at SummerSlam. And finally, the night one main event. Well, it's what this website says the main. CBS Sports, so I guess it's pretty reliable. Gunther will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the number one contender, CM Punk. It's hard again. I think Gunther needs the win. It would be nice to see CM Punk win the belt one more time before retirement, but I think I think Gunther needs the win. Gunther needs to hold this title for a while. That's just my opinion. He needs to hold this title for a while. And not only will that make him a bigger superstar, that'll make the title mean that much more. And yeah, I think Gunther should win. And I think he's going to. I think Gunther is going to win. I can't even think of any shenanigans. But I think Gunther keeps the belt at SummerSlam. And maybe even Punk goes away for a little bit. Don't know. I can see Punk winning it, though. That's the thing. I can see CM Punk winning the belt, but I think it's going to, my opinion is going to be Gunther. But that's the night one predictions, guys. We are going to take our commercial break, and when we take a quick 3-minute break, and when we come back, we will discuss night two. We will discuss some indie wrestling news. We'll talk about Vince McMahon's car accident, some WWE, more WWE news, maybe some TNA news. But we're going to talk a lot more wrestling, more about news this time than it is about results or stuff. Plus the night, of course, the night two predictions. But guys, we will be right back. See you then.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductibus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductibus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
And we're back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hardcore Heels Wrestling Show. I am your host, Sewer Dweller, and we are talking SummerSlam tonight. So we already talked about night one's predictions. Let's go into night two. Again, if you have any comments, feel free to put them on the show. Again, if you post a comment on, I don't know about X, but I know on the YouTube channels or the Facebook streams, it will appear in our comment section, and I will definitely comment on it, and I will show it to the world. So if you have anything to say, any predictions yourself, feel free. But we are moving on to night two, and what a start to night two. The WWE Tag Team Championship. The Wyatt Six will defend the championships against DIY, the Street Profits, Fraxium, the Motor City Machine Guns, and Andrade and Rey Fenix in a TLC match. This, to me, is the match that'll steal the weekend. This could steal the weekend, in all honesty. 12 high-flying guys, 12 very good wrestlers in a match just trying to kill each other, in all honesty. And I think the Wyatts will keep the belt. I think they need to keep the belts. They need to have, a stable champion for a while. And I think the Wyatts will keep the belts. If not, I can see maybe the Street Profits coming out with it. But I think it's going to be the Wyatt 6, in all honesty. So that's night 2 for you. Or the open, what's the first match listed on night 2? Moving on, our next match is the Intercontinental title match as Dominic Mysterio defends the title for the first time since King of the Ring? Money in the Bank, I think. Where he defended against Octagon Jr. He will defend the title against AJ Styles. I love this. I've loved this feud. I've loved the stuff that AJ's been doing, hunting, stalking him everywhere. Every time Dominic turns around, there's AJ as a janitor or in the clubhouse or doing different things. And it's praying. The video with him praying was hilarious. But I think Dominic's keeping the belt. I think Dominic's going to keep the belt. AJ doesn't need another title. AJ's going to be retiring soon. It'd be nice to see AJ Styles with another title, but I think Dominic's keeping the belt. I really, really do. Moving on, United States Championship match. Solo Sikoa defends the United States Championship against Jacob Fatu in a steel cage match. That's going to be a good match too. That'll be good. That'll be fun. That'll be hard hitting. Solo and Jacob. It'll also be interesting to see how they're going to get the Tongans back in. To help Solo win if Tama Tonga's coming back or what's going on with that. Jacob, Jimmy Uso is going to get involved at some point too. It's going to be a fun match. It's going to be interesting. It's always really cool to see a steel cage in a big stadium setting like that. It always looks awesome. So the image itself looks awesome. So yeah, I don't want to see Solo lose it yet, but I think Jacob Fatu's taking the belt back. I hope you guys don't hear the dog barking in the background, but it's dinner time for them. Moving on to our next match, Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch defends the title against Lyra Valkyria. If Lyra Valkyria, it is a no disqualification, no count out, there must be a winner. And if Lyra Valkyria cannot beat Becky Lynch, she cannot challenge Becky for the Women's Intercontinental Championship ever again. At least until she can't challenge for the title until Becky loses it. Which I don't think is going to be a problem because I think Lyra's taking the belt back. I think we're getting another new champion, and we're getting a lot of new champions this weekend, I think. But I think Lyra is going to take the championship, and I'm for it because she had a really good run with it. Some really good matches, and that's what it should be. The champion, the women's Intercontinental champion, just like the men's Intercontinental Championship, should be your best wrestlers. They should be your workhorses. And that's it. So I think Lyra is going to take the belt back. Moving on to our next match, we have the Women's World Championship as Naomi defends in a triple threat match against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. And I don't know if Naomi's losing it. This is a really hard one to call because all three of them could deserve to be champion. All three of them are great. I think Rhea chasing the belt is still fine, but she's still the most over woman on the roster. You can't deny that. You just can't. Man, I hope you guys don't hear that dog barking in the back. But yeah, I think Naomi is keeping the belt. And finally, in the main event, the undisputed WWE Championship, John Cena will defend against Cody Rhodes in a street fight in John Cena's final SummerSlam ever. God, I'm not excited for this match. They made me excited. I'm not going to lie. Elimination Chamber, all the way to WrestleMania, I was excited. I was ready to see John Cena and Cody Rhodes wrestle, even though I don't like John Cena. I've never been a John Cena fan. I get it. I get why he was over so much. I get why he was the guy. I was never a fan. But at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes is winning. Cody Rhodes is getting the belt back. John Cena's going face again for the last, 4 months of the year. And his last 15 appearances, I think. I don't even know how many appearances he has left. But John Cena's going to go face, and he'll be a face for the rest of his WWE run. I think that was always going to be the plan, in all honesty. But I think Cody Rhodes wins the belt. The Rock might get involved just because, but Cody Rhodes is winning. Cody Rhodes is going to take the belt back, and John Cena is going to go heel. John Cena will go away. We're going to get face John Cena. All the glitz and glamour that comes with him, and then that's it. But this is shaping up to be a pretty good card for SummerSlam. I really think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a damn good show. I think the tag title match, the TLC match, the TLC match, and then the Triple Threat Women's match are the two matches that can steal the entire weekend, in all honesty. WWE-wise, there's a lot of good shows going on in the New York area the next few days. Just like with WrestleMania, then this is something that should happen. I am 100% down. I love the fact that everybody converges on WrestleMania and it just becomes a professional wrestling weekend in Las Vegas this year with all these independent shows. The Collective, I think is what they call it now, with GCW running all these shows, and it makes it a whole weekend. Make WrestleMania an event. It makes it an event. It makes it just great. And I hope they do it for SummerSlam. I hope they do it for Royal Rumble. I hope they do it for all the big ones. Even do it for Survivor Series, because apparently Survivor Series is going to be at Petco Park this year in San Diego. So it's going to be in a baseball field. That's going to be great. It's going to be great. But yeah, it's going to be a good show. So let's get into some news. A couple of stories I read recently. And I don't think anybody didn't see this coming, but WWE is building a AAA performance center in Mexico for the 2026 launch. I mean, who didn't see that coming? They're extending their reach into Mexico. They're likely going to extend their reach into Japan here soon. Whether they buy DDT Pro or Pro Wrestling Noah or even New Japan, they're going to do something over in Japan. There's going to be a performance center there. There's going to be a performance center in Mexico. They're probably going to end up building a performance center in England or somewhere in Europe. And you know what? This is shit that Vince should have done years ago. Find the best wrestlers in best wrestlers in the world and bring them to WWE. It's that simple. That's what WWE should be. And that's what it's been. That's what it's become. And with Vince was doing it before he left, bringing a bunch of, wrestlers from around the world and not making. And the thing about it is, and this is one of the things with Triple H as well, and I think Vince finally learned near the end, not to make their nationality part of their gimmick, like he used to do back in the 90s, where we have Hakushi here from Japan, and of course everything was Japanese. Now we have Io Sky, and she's Japanese, but being Japanese isn't her gimmick. If you get what I'm saying, Ludwig Borga, his whole gimmick was I'm Norwegian and I hate America. So what? Why should we care? So does so did the Iron Sheik, so did Nikolai Volkov, so did the Russians in NWA. Why should we care? But building a performance center in Mexico is definitely a step forward for WWE, to help build Luchador division. You got AAA now. You're running shows in Mexico and Mexico City. They just sold out an arena in Mexico City. And you have AAA Mania coming up. That's going to be streamed on YouTube, on WWE's YouTube. So we'll see what's going on with that. But yeah, they're building a AAA performance center. AAA representative Ernesto Campo revealed the news during an interview with Super Luchas, confirming the plan to build a dedicated training facility designed to align AAA talent with the WWE system. The center will host both Mexican and American trainers tasked with refining in-ring abilities while introducing performers to WWE's trademark style. Well, there's not much that can be said yet because the new company wants to reveal its news gradually, but there are some things we can share. One of them is that the new AAA will have a performance center, which will be inaugurated around mid-2026. And it's expected to have both Mexican and American trainers who will help polish the wrestling style of AAA stars. I'm for it. That's one of the things that a lot of people say about AEW is if they had a performance center with somebody there to, train these wrestlers the correct way, maybe Tony Khan wouldn't have to come out and say, hey, we can't have a women's tag team tournament right now because 25% of my fucking roster just got injured in one match. Like, he came out and said it, guys. I mean, I'm not even making that up. He came out and said it. I can't even believe he came out and said it. I can't believe he came out and admitted that. I would never admit that 25% of my roster got hurt in one fucking match. So we move on to really more disturbing news. Former WWF star, I wouldn't call it. I mean that calling him a star is kind of a little bit of a reach, but Mike Duke the Dumpster Drosy faces felony charges for attempted child exploitation. So basically, after a court hearing that has been scheduled, for August 27th at 9:30 in Warren County, Tennessee, regarding former WWF and Memphis wrestling star Mike Duke the Dumpster Drosy, who had been indicted on one count of attempted aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, which is essentially possession of kiddie porn. Is a piece of shit. The hearing is described as a plea or trial selection, which means a trial date will be set if no plea agreement is breached between Drosy and prosecutors before the scheduled court date. I'm not going to read all of this. All it says is that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI investigator Jason Walker with the Warren County Sheriff's Department first received a tip from the FBI regarding Mr. Drosey's alleged criminal conduct. Investigator Walker immediately forwarded the information, and on March 19th, 2025, marks the first date any local or state law enforcement official had any knowledge of Mr. Drosey's alleged criminal conduct. So basically, Duke the Dumpster Drosey is a piece of shit that should be taken out back and had a bullet put in his head or something. Whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to do to someone like that. But essentially the charges are kiddie porn. He was either attempting to purchase child pornography or God help me if he made it. I don't think he made it. I think he was just buying it from what I'm reading, what I've read. But yeah. Duke the Dumpster Drosey, terrible, terrible person. So moving on to our next story. For those who don't know, I guess it was over the weekend or last week or so, Vince McMahon got into a really bad car accident, completely totaling his Bentley. And I believe it was on Martha's Vineyard, or on a road to Martha's Vineyard or something like that. Witnesses were saying he was doing like 8, and I think officials said it. He's doing 80 to 90 miles per hour down the road, and veered into oncoming traffic and hit another lady, totaling that to 2 other cars or something like that. So you can just add that to his legal troubles. But apparently this isn't, his driving habits have been a long-time concern for WWE staff. For decades, several WWE employees and Mr. and McMahon associates have labeled his driving as erratic, a term that was used half-jokingly but with real concern. It became an open secret within the company that traveling with McMahon was something to avoid, with some choosing to turn down car rides altogether due to his unpredictable style on the road. Despite his status and resources, McMahon has always preferred to drive himself. One source said that McMahon feels grounded when he is behind the wheel, especially when away from WWE-related travel. They humorously added that it is ironic considering the kind of luxury cars he drives, such as a $250,000 vehicle. So yeah, I thought there was more to this article, but because I read something online that Jim Cornette would never, ever, ever, ever ride with him, and I think Jim Ross wouldn't either. They would never get in their car with him because they're like, no, fuck that. So yeah, that's basically the story for that. The other big news going on right now, not really. I mean, I wouldn't say big news, but pretty good news for WWE. Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. We talk about this on Bloody Binge all the time, but I'm going to talk about it here because they just announced a WWE haunted house for their Halloween Horror Nights event, based around the Wyatt Six. It looks like it's got Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, and the Wyatt Six in it. So that's pretty fucking awesome, in all honesty. That Universal Studios, one of the biggest theme parks in the world, one of the most popular Halloween attractions in the world, are doing a haunt based on the Wyatt Six, on the Wyatt family in general. That's pretty good. That's pretty freaking awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing videos. I won't get to go to it, but I'm looking forward to see videos. So, let's move on to some indie wrestling news. Because there's a lot of stuff coming out of GCW. One of the things I'm looking forward to this weekend is Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. As of right now, there are 3 matches officially announced. If there's more, let me know, because I've only seen the 3. But one of these matches I'm really, 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 really looking forward to. The first match announced for Bloodsport. For those who don't know what Bloodsport is, it's kind of like a shoot work style. It's obvious that it's still working, but it almost looks real. Like real professional, real wrestling in that. But unfortunately, but it's professional wrestling. It's not real. It's still scripted, but it's got a more realistic feel to it than most wrestling does. But we have Jonathan Gresham versus Pete Dunne. That'll be great because Jonathan Gresham is a hell of a wrestler, and Pete Dunne can go when he wants to. But Pete Dunne's more of a striker, I think, than a wrestler. So that'll be an interesting match. Jordan Blade versus Janai Kai. I don't know who either one of them are. But the match that I'm looking forward to is the main event. We have Masha Slamovich, the now former TNA Knockouts champion, versus, and I think she's undefeated at Bloodsport, I'm not sure, versus Natty Neidhart from WWE. That is going to be crazy. That is crazy that we're getting that match. That's going to be fucking awesome. But another thing for it that just came out, that Josh Barnett has confirmed that WWE superstars, the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar, will compete at Bloodsport 14 on Saturday during SummerSlam August 2nd, during SummerSlam weekend. Barnett made the announcement on social media with a chilling message that sets the tone for the War Raiders' brutal debut. Ivar is coming to Bloodsport. Ivar, Eric. The War Raiders are looking to conquer new ground or die trying. That's going to be great. That's cool as hell. I'm glad they've got them doing something. And that's one of the things I think I love about this new thing, where all these guys are starting to do their own shows on WrestleMania weekend or SummerSlam weekend or whatever weekend they want to do. I love that WWE is sending guys there. I really do. Sending guys to work these shows. Hold on. Sorry about that. I didn't think you guys wanted to hear me sneeze. It shows, it gives, not only does it give indie guys attention, gives them, puts them on WWE's radar, being that close to WWE and working with GCW, who is obviously working with WWE as well. But send some of your guys there, send some of the guys who aren't doing anything. Let them get some work and let them, wrestle at a GCW show. I am all for it. Especially with GCW pretty much running the WWE ID showcase shows, which again is going to happen this weekend, Friday, actually tomorrow at 4 p.m. on Triller TV. You have the GCW ID showcase with the main event. What appears to be the main event is a WWE ID women's title 3-way match. Well, I guess it's going to be naming the champion, with Kylie Ray facing off against Zeta Steele and Zara Zucker. A lot of Z's there. We have Timothy Thatcher versus Aaron Rourke, and a 6-man tag team match as Marcus Mathers and YDNP, Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, versus the Vanity Project of Brad Baylor, Bryce Donovan, and Ricky Smokes. And the WWE ID men's title match, Jack Cartwheel versus Cappuccino Jones. So basically, we're going to name both of our champions this weekend, WWE ID champions this weekend, and in a GCW ring at SummerSlam. Again, it brings attention to the independents. It brings attention to GCW. And just great stuff, For those who haven't been following GCW recently, they just got back from Japan. I haven't watched their shows in Japan yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But more coming out this weekend. We have House of Glory is having a show on August 1st, tomorrow at 8 p.m. In New York City. I think it's at their home arena. But in the show, Amazing Red is wrestling Ricochet. House of Glory women's title match. We have Indy Hartwell versus Priscilla Kelly. House of Glory tag team title match. The main event, Jay Lyon and Midas Black versus nobody. There's nobody listed. Oh, this is a match that I would love to see. House of Glory Crown Jewel title match. Zilla Fatu, the son of Umaga, is defending the title against Bully Ray. And then we're having a Matt Travis Memorial Battle Royal. And the main event, House of Glory heavyweight champion Charles Mason will defend the title against Carlito. That's tomorrow at 8 p.m. And then also tomorrow at 8 p.m. So you got a choice. You got a choice, guys. GCW, Hit 'em Up 2025. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. We have GCW Hit 'em Up, Mance Warner versus Bear Bronson. It's going to be in the Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey. Mance Warner versus Bear Bronson. We have a death match, Dr. Redacted versus Slade. A 6-man tag team match, Team Cardona, Mark Sterling, Matt Cardona, and Tommy Invincible versus Team Shotzi. Shotzi Blackheart and 2 mystery partners. Another 6-man tag team match, we have Marcus Mathers and YDNP, Alec Price, and Jordan Oliver versus Cappuccino Jones, Gringo Loco, and Jack Kurtwheel. We have Steve Macklin versus the one called Manders. A tag team death match is Drew Parker and Emerson Jane versus the Rejects, John Wayne Murdoch, and Reed Bentley. And finally, GCW World Title match, Effie defends the title against Crowbar, who I'm going to assume is the Crowbar from WCW. Looks like a great show. Looks like a good card. There's so much going on this weekend. Josh Barnett, is at 1 p.m. Bloodsport 15 or 14 is Saturday at 1 p.m. There's a bunch of stuff. GCW just got back from Japan, and just so much going on there. I'm trying to see any more. Okay, here's a couple more matches that they've announced that I haven't seen, I guess. Nick Camaroto versus Simon Gotch. This is for the Bloodsport 14. Nick Camaroto versus Simon Gotch. Charlie Dempsey versus Dominic Guarini. Timothy Thatcher versus Slade, and then the 3 matches I've already announced, plus the War Raiders. It's gonna be just an action-packed weekend. But it's we got SummerSlam, we got GCW. There's just so much going on. But I think that's actually going to do it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the Hardcore Heels SummerSlam preview show. You can find me everywhere at the Bloody Binge Movie Show on Facebook, on X, on YouTube. You can watch backlogged episodes on YouTube. They're all uploaded. They're all there for your watching enjoyment, or you can listen to them on your favorite podcast streaming service, on Spotify, on Apple Music, on iHeartRadio podcasts. And, of course, you can join us every Friday at 4 p.m. for the Bloody Binge Movie Show. next week. What am I doing next week? I forgot. Next week, we are watching... Oh, we're watching Ghoulies next week. So we're going to watch Ghoulies. We're going to talk... Me and Friday will talk about Ghoulies next Friday at 4 p.m. Well, might be Thursday now because I think I'm working again next Friday. But next Thursday, 9 p.m., we will be talking Goonies. A great 80s movie. I mean, if you don't like Goonies, I don't know what to tell you. You can also find me on Twitch. I don't really play on Twitch too often at Sewer Dweller 78. Hopefully I'm going to get back into that soon. Plus, you can find me on TikTok at Sewer Dweller. We'll talk about the new movies coming up. There's going to be some new stuff going up on TikTok and on YouTube, as well as I'm going to start doing a couple of paranormal videos around the city, talking about some true crime stuff, talking about some haunted places and that. And even now with Halloween season coming up, I'm officially retired. I am not acting this year. With Halloween coming up and haunted houses season coming up, you might even just see me pop up at a couple of haunts in the area, going through and giving some reviews and things like that. We'll see what happens. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys enjoy SummerSlam this weekend. Give GCW a try. Give independent wrestling a try. Give your local independent shows a try. I know we've got one coming up here, DCW, in Springfield, Ohio. Is coming up on the 9th, I believe. And if you're in Dayton, Ohio, Saturday, August 2nd, this Saturday, if you're not watching SummerSlam, Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Inglewood Theater. Give that a check. Give that a check out. We went last month and it was fun. If you're a Rocky Horror fan, that is definitely something you may want to check out. But guys, be good to each other. Keep watching horror movies and support your local independent wrestling company. See you later.